Hello everyone, Santry here, and I'm going to stream some Guild Wars because I wanted to make sure I streamed at least once this month, you know? Ah yes, I definitely was playing this monk last, judging by where I put the formation party. Okay, that's right. I was making my way through all this stuff. Do I need to change anything? I think we can just intermission. Hope everyone's doing well. I myself have been busy with various other things, such as life. Well, being deep frozen is not really what I consider a good time. It'll wear off soon enough. Yeah, I think I wanted to go do some skill quests in the Guma area, if I remember correctly. It has been quite a while since I streamed, so... Okay, Cautious has some random nonsense on him. It's not a big deal. How's my armor situation going? Poorly. 45s is not bad for this part of the game, but... Yeah, okay. Just confirming that I had all of my attribute points. I recalled that I had, but I just wanted to double check to make sure that that recollection was accurate. I see Sasuke is doing supplemental healing. And technically so is Milani with her imbue health. A little bit Condi cleanse there. Yeah, seems reasonable. This is Eye of Janthier. Yeah. Hey, Mana Guy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Day's been a little bit cooler than it has been, which is nice. It's been a little bit warmer than we'd like lately. And yes, good and excellent friends, etc. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Temperature management is really tricky. I live with my folks, and my mom is a min-maxer when it comes to trying to optimize how little energy we're spending on cooling our house. Which, more power to her, I guess. But one of the challenges that we have is that our house does a really bad job of balancing temperatures across rooms. So, and like, I appreciate the fact that we have central air conditioning a lot. But actually making all of the rooms a comfortable temperature is not something central air is great at doing by itself. And so, like, one of the things that we run into as a challenge, me in particular, is my room tends to get hotter than the other rooms in the house. I think there's various reasons for this. Being upstairs, electronics obviously contributes to heat. That is not the person who I needed to remove that hex from, but whatever. But another thing is, like, my room is partially above the garage, which I think captures a lot of heat. Right, particularly builds up heat in the morning that then gets released over the course of the day. And that warms things up also. So just all around, there's lots of different things that can kind of contribute to what temperature it is. We're kind of east-facing, so we get a lot of the morning sun in my room. And then building up in the garage and stuff, so... But I'm also right across from the thermostat, so if I open my door, then all that heat goes out and into the rest of the house and then chills everyone way down. Potentially. I don't know, it's just... I have grown to appreciate homes that have better interior circulation and air control, but I find myself really wanting. I've heard of, particularly in Asia, I think they're popular, but air conditioning units that functionally are like a different head for each. What if we go over this way? A different head for each like room, where instead of being central air, there's a centralized air conditioning, like air HVAC system that kind of has different heads for each of the rooms, and that would be really nice. I'm realizing that I know the path that I normally take through here, but I'm not sure if there's not a better one. Like, we can cut through over here. Okay, let's deal with some of these gypsy ettins. Okay, now to go save the person across the bridge. Thankfully, we do have charge, which helps with going around and getting to everyone a little bit, I suppose. Oh, also, Guild Wars 2 has announced that the next expansion, instead of adding weapons, will add elite specializations. I am very curious to see what those end up being. My hope is that I like the Elementalist one, because I've been... Weaver is interesting. I don't know. My biggest problem with Elementalist is I want to be able to assign weapons per element in Guild Wars 2. Because I really like Fire Staff, for example. But not necessarily some of the other ones. Yeah, so like... you could set your fire... If you set your fire attunement weapon to be... Oh, I need to get to this villager. If you could set your fire attunement weapon to be staff, and then your air attunement to be, I don't know, dagger, and then maybe staff for water, and then earth, like sword, trumpet, or horn, or war horn, I guess they call it. Something like that, where when you swap attributes, it would swap your weapon as well. Because, like, what I've often found is that, like, and this is kind of a similar problem that I have an engineer, actually, a little bit, is that sometimes you'll pick a weapon, like, if you pick a melee weapon, and then the enemy's at range, and suddenly it's like, oh, what options do I have for dealing with this where I want to be a ranged weapon? So, like, if I'm playing a, other classes, I can just, you know, swap weapons to like have a melee weapon set and a ranged weapon set, right? But like on engineer, you have to have a weapon kit that's ranged if you want to have like a melee weapon and then a ranged weapon. So it's just so like elementalists, you can kind of feel some of those limitations. Like if you're main handing a dagger, like those are all short range, right? So it'd be nice if I could be like, oh, this attunement I want to go melee, this one I want to go long range. Or sometimes, like with some of the weapons, it's this one a short range and this one's long range. Right? And that also can be very like, oh, now I have to really try to remember a lot of details about like what the range this weapon is at. Instead of being like, what range am I doing this? Okay, where's this villager that I missed? Oh, I probably need to go talk to the one back there. Okay, let's go clear out these Tengu so I can get this villager safely. I know I'm talking about Guild Wars 2, but like, quite frankly, Like, I've played this game so much, I don't necessarily have more to say about it. I have been enjoying Night Rain lately as well, actually. That game's been quite fun. Okay, hang on. Should be a villager, yeah. Okay, that guy's not under attack right now, so we're good. I think I saved that villager and failed to talk to them, so I need to figure out which one it is. It's potentially the one at the bridge, actually. That one seems to be a little finicky to get to follow you sometimes. I'm also curious what the Revenant's new spirit is going to be. That's always kind of an interesting little bit of info, or could potentially be some interesting interactions. I've really been just mostly sticking with primary Vindicator with Victor and Arkham. I like the Dragoon gameplay and all that. I also hope that I like the Thieves. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the elite specs are like. That's all it really comes down to, is I just don't know yet. And we'll see. Okay, it is this villager. Yeah, this villager here at the foot of the bridge is really easy to, like, accidentally not get following you. Man, I tell you, there was one point in time where I did this, and it was back in the days when you actually played with people, because we didn't have heroes and henchmen sucked. And I got the bonus here on one of my earliest characters, Baratus, I think, who had the, like, title for getting all things early on. And for a long time afterwards, like, I had not been in charge of, like, doing that, and I did not know how to get the bonus for this mission. I was always really confused. I thought you had to save the merchants or whatever, and it's just, eventually I realized, oh no, it's villagers off to the side, and then you need to, they're literally the people who show up in your allies list. And it's just, oh man. It was a long time before I understood how this bonus worked. Really shocking long time. Okay. Villagers are walking in poison. This is what we call suboptimal. Whatever. Healing Breeze will take care of that. Good old Healing Breeze. Healing Breeze will take care of that, too. Oh yeah, don't I want these guys really hard? Yeah, because I have a holy staff. Radiant Minor Illusion. That's probably not worth anything. Oh yeah, I need to turn in these Elonian Mirrors. That's right, I did a bunch of questing and I am just remembering all kinds of stuff. Okay. This Eye of Janthier is doing a really good job of getting in my way. Oh man. I did Shards of Ore on Sunday, and I'm getting flashbacks to this freaking wizards in Shards of Ore. Let's get this off. Hi, Eye of Janthier. Turns out being level 20 with a holy wand is really good against low-level skeletons. Heals my party, but not these guys. I don't know why I healed the one that was... Whatever. Had the most HP. Raja Crux. They definitely looked at these undead, or the various, because these are Orion. The Orions have had really just poor history of being made into undead. Kind of like their number one gimmick. Because they're undead here, and they're undead in a lot of Orion undead in Guild Wars 2, obviously with Zaitan. Man, the Guild Wars 2 build system. Guild Wars 2 build system has so many challenges. It's like, I'd love to experiment with builds more, but it really wants you to have more, like, just full legendary gear so you can actually experiment. Hello, Mina. Thank you for the bonus. It really annoys me how expensive the legendary relic is. Because, like the fact that you could get it for free if you had a legendary rune kind of annoys me. In that it's so much more expensive than a legendary rune. It's probably more expensive than a full set of legendary runes. Frankly. Versailles, you are the merchant here. I need an ID kit. Okay, what do we got going on with this collar? Stalwart? Yeah, most of the stuff is barely worth salvaging. That's 3 bolts of cloth. 12 gold. Yeah. It's probably just barely worth salvaging these for materials. Just because this account is so low on materials in general, as a general rule of thumb. I guess I got a decent amount of bone. I need a lot more wood for parchment. Actually, that's a good supply of feathers. How do I have 131 feathers on this account? I don't know, y'all. It's confusing me. Okay. I have plenty of wood and iron banked up. Yeah, it's tanned hide that I'm especially low on. We need to make a bunch more tempered glass vials, I think. Because I want to eventually get her tats. So... I'll probably salvage the radiant out of this. Minor illusion's probably not worth anything, but... the radiant almost certainly is. Okay. So for that, I don't need to talk to the dude. I just need to go to the... I know that was extremely ambiguous. Hey, Thomas. Thomas. Okay. Thomas, I realize you don't want to talk while you're fighting. Yeah, okay. I need to go over there. Okay, it's just for now I'm going to go to the wilds. That's the most straightforward course of action. Can't target myself with that, obviously. Man, I want to replace Orson of Healing. I'll go Word of Healing in the Crystal Desert, but... Do I do... How many of these missions do I actually want to do? Like, this was definitely the quickest way to get out here. And I definitely want to do... Man, we're probably just going to spend a lot of time running through these areas. Times like these that I wish I had a running skill. Hello, Kirby? Oh, you can get me bad head armor. Also, that's an absolute waste of tangled seeds that can be salvaged for plant fibers. Just don't look at them, and maybe they'll look... Okay, never mind. So not the undead. So one of the things I'm going to have to decide is if I'm going to take the short way to Sanctum K, or wait a second. I'm not at all going the right way to do Brother's Fury. Okay, hang on. So I'm going to want Sanctum K, obviously. I'm going to need Temple of the Ages. Excuse me there. Do I have the Hot Springs Murders? I need to turn that one in. That would be either I've done it or do I have Bergen Hot Springs? Yeah, no, I haven't. I don't have. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I said, recognizing what things I had and had not done based upon my map. I have not done the Hot Springs Murders because I haven't been to the Hot Springs. Therefore, I could not have done it. So I definitely have stuff I want to go do down that way, any airways. For now, we're going to do this because it's what I've decided. All right. House Ranger, Rhino. Rionel? I don't know, there's different ways that you could potentially pronounce that. What is going on, Sasuke? Okay, we done fighting... Okay, they didn't drop anything. Wonder what's making that, like, howling sound? Yeah, something keeps howling. I'm gonna step into the wilds, turn in this quest. What would it take for Conjure Phantasm to be a good skill? Would Conjure Phantasm be a good skill if it had a area of effect? Like if you could hex a whole group at once and just be like super suffering? Honestly, there's a lot of things that could contribute towards something like that being a good skill. Do I want to hang on to this bow? It's kind of an interesting bow. It's not a very good bow. It's almost max. I think it's kind of a neat bow, but I realistically don't need it on this character. Also, it's annoys me that that's not... Yeah. They're worth quite a bit to the merchant if you identify them. They're worth definitely a good bit more to me, to the merchant, as it were. Thank you. Okay. There's a level 6 necromancer over there for some random reason. I believe Eye for Profit terminates in this area, so I'm gonna go over there. You don't need to talk to Graham. You just need the Lilac Eye. Okay, I accept. Okay, that I accept less. I'm not using Healing Breeze because they have Shatter Enchantment. Although they might have burnt all of their Shatter Enchantments on Milani, who knows? Pious Renewal is really good against enchantment removal skills, as you might imagine. Okay. Zara Mental Melt. Call yourself Mental Melt. Some sort of weird villain. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be attacking through empathy. Ow. Okay. Okay, this is getting absurd. I need those AoE heals for efficiency. Like energy efficiency. Thankfully I had Healing Seed, but ooh, gold short bow. Wonder if I get any good mods off of that. It's possible. Okay. Let's do this. This gives me more HP, so this does not have a fortitude mod. See, my HP goes down. Okay, I don't see any attribute things either. It's a neat little trick that actually has its properties. So this is damage plus 19% while health is below 50%, and a poisonous bowstring, which is unlocked on my account now, apparently. I can't think of a time when I'd want a poisonous bowstring in general. If you're trying to do a lot of apply poison stuff, I could see it maybe being vaguely useful, but that's just not very good in PvE. Plus, your applies poison on every hit, so it's kind of redundant. Crippling bowstrings were very useful for crypt shot builds, but those are not a PvE build. That's a PvP build. Like, there's so many really cool PvP builds that are just not good in PvE because of the pace of battle. And that's one of the things I was alluding to earlier that I didn't really get to because I was wandering words around. But one of the things that would probably make Conjure Phantasm better is if pressure type strategies were actually useful in PvE, but they're not really. The enemies just die too easily, and their AI is too stupid, quite bluntly, to know what it means to not stand under, to not clump up, right? Like, enemies would need to spread out in order to counteract AoE effects, and you'd need, like, actual healers in, like, every team, and every battle would be, like, 3 minutes long, and nobody wants that, but it would make pressure-type skills like Conjure Phantasm better. Here, Milani, let's give you some goods. Gale Stormsend. This water heals you slightly. So that's neat. Yeah, there's the lilac eye. You don't need to talk to Graham at all in order to be able to complete this quest, which is cool with me. I really don't want to do the wilds right now because it's long and tedious. Would be good for filling out my Flameseeker prophecies, though. Oh, looks like a ruby. Ah, the lilac eye. So it does exist. Rather hoped that I wouldn't have to pay him. Yes. Dark Bond. Apparently, this is my first time getting Dark Bond, so I've unlocked that. I can't imagine a time where I'd use this on a monk, but on Necromancer, I like it on a... If you make a minion team that uses BIP. Oh, this is also unlocked Smite Hacks. Interesting. Neat. I'm glad to have that unlocked. I didn't quite realize that I had not done so yet. I don't know if I need chitin. Chitin is definitely not one of those materials I think of myself as needing particularly much, though. I unlocked a bad staff wrapping thingy. Okay, this is just 164 gold, so I'm gonna sell it. I don't think this NPC's quest should be given until later, but... Actually, in my opinion, this quest should not be given until, let's see, is Namnon best gotten from here or here? I don't think it matters too much. I think it should be a quest in Henge of Dunravi that sends you to, like, either get the thing that they dropped or, like, do the drop-off or something. To basically, like, investigate the situation, to prompt you to go do it. It just does not make any sense for the timing and stuff for them to have it there. Yeah, it feels like it's fairly comparable. What is... Come on over here, Koss. Okay, Koss is determined to kill some Thorn Devourers, and who am I to say otherwise, except the party leader? I could totally make him give up on this never, but I'm not going to bother. I mean, I set him to aggressive so that way he would start fights for me, so I can't get too mad when he starts fights for me, as it were. Yes, yes. Run times now. And it's pretty out here in its own sort of way. What is going on? Okay. Looks like our party was being led by Gwen in that screenshot, I'm sure. Kinda think I need to wrap around. My brain was like loop around, wrap around, and got lap around, and I'm like, wait a second. That's an entirely different thing. Okay, let's clear out this horde of moss scarabs, I guess. It's not really worth it. I got a mossy mandible from our troubles, and 0 experience points. Experience points are at least worth something when I'm trying to unlock all skills, you know? This is an area where spreading out would be very helpful, since it weakens the power of Cry of Frustration. Top everyone off a little bit. Yeah, there goes those shatter enchantments I was mentioning. Making our elementalists sad. Probably should have gotten rid of Gwen's, but honestly it doesn't matter. Hers had the longest duration left. Oh, big gun. Mamnoon Lagoon. Such a fun name. Whatever became of Mamnoon Lagoon, I wonder. Strip enchantment. Now that's the real business. Let's see. This quest get me healing seed? It does. Well of Suffering as well. Wells. Which isn't a terrible skill. I wouldn't consider it a great skill either. It's another one of those like pressure skills. Generally you want stuff that just directly deals damage more than you want stuff that gives degen. Degen's advantage is that it goes through defenses, right? But enemies aren't smart about that sort of thing in the first place, so it's just not that significant. Okay. Okay, I get it. You have Cry of Frustration on your bar. Thank you for the input. Man, if I were to make Cry of Frustration a magic card in a way that really, really captured the sense of it, I don't know if you can do that properly. Ooh. No, I figured it out. It needs to be like a blue-red spell that deals, like, counters a spell and then deals damage. But it also needs to be kind of like a force of will, and where you can pitch cards in order to cast it for free. Yeah. I have identified what would make Cry of Frustration a magic card. Put your red card and a blue card, or a card that's both red and blue. How's that for an interesting pitch cost concept? I think it's kind of interesting, actually. The Silver Wood. I don't know why, but the name of the Silver Wood like that, it makes me think of Hexen. I streamed a playthrough of Hexen on my channel a long time ago. You can find the VODs on my YouTube channel. But Hexen is an old first-person shooter for the PC. Well, it came out on other stuff. I think I have an N64 cart of it, too, actually. But it's pretty neat. Has character classes. And did a lot of fun stuff. Quite fond of Hexen. I know it's using like German for like sorcery as its name. Swift chopping me and stuff, eh? They're probably going for me because I probably have the lowest armor. Also, I'm kind of running up front a little bit. But I definitely would have the lowest average armor of anyone in my party right now. This is like the only Wind Rider area in the map. So it's like there's usually a couple right here. One of the things that Guild Wars 1 does that's really subtle, you might not notice it, but because I've looked into this sort of thing, I have. Enemy spawns, like there's enemies that appear within a kind of a world region, right? But not every map has every enemy that spawns in that region. So like that previous map over here, Sage Lands, that doesn't have any centaurs. Hi, you can give me Well of Suffering and Healing Seed. Actually, do I want Healing Seed equipped right now? Kinda, but I'm not sure what I'd replace with it. I like Jamie's Gaze as an oh no button. If I had a better elite skill that I could replace Orson with, I would absolutely put it over there, but I don't think I actually want it right now. Red enchantments, Contemplation of Purity. Yeah, I'll happily take that. I just lost my train of thought because of that. It's okay. Oh, yeah. And I remember. But, like, I just think it's really interesting that, like, enemy compositions are like, what maps have what enemies, like, shifts and varies and stuff. So you're not fighting all of the same enemies everywhere in a map. And this is actually kind of one of the failings, now that I think of it, of factions. Because Prophecies is definitely that way. But factions, very much so. I'd have to review, but like Kaineng is basically like Ampha or Jade Brotherhood everywhere, maybe Afflicted, and that's it. And so it doesn't tend to have the enemy variety that you get in Prophecies regions. And that would probably be something that contributes to the sense of sameness, now that I think about it. Is it's always Jade Brotherhood and Ampha that you're fighting. Oh, Jade Brotherhood and Ampha are Afflicted. And some maps like favor one over the other, but like... So you kind of have that at sort of a macro level. I don't know, it's interesting to think about. This quest strikes me as one that feels like its structure is different. Like, or like from a different iteration of the design of the game. Because it feels like this is a quest that gets you specifically to Coral Falls, right? Like this quest chain. Getting the quest here takes you to Mamnoon Lagoon and then over in here. But you just also do that with missions, sort of. It's very interesting. Very, very odd sort of structure in many regards. Getting caught on cliffs. Lady Engelram. Is that an aspirational lady? Actual nobility just hanging out in the middle of the jungle? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know I'm going to talk to Gareth here. I'll grab the demagogues stuff too. Really, I don't have heal party. I wonder if that's gotten through a quest. I should probably look up some of that stuff. Heal area, I frankly could go just fine without ever getting. It's terrible, but maybe I'll want it for something at some point. No, not close. I want to do this quest, not do this quest. Okay. Kind of annoying that you have to reset all of the enemy spawns just to be able to go up here and fight some White Mantle, but it's interesting that the White Mantle we're going after are just near where Alari Doubleblade was. Alari was in this water area, but I mean they're completely separate paths. It's a V here, right? Okay, I definitely don't need that business going on. Get rid of this rust. So I can use my signet without rust downsides. Okay, come on. I don't need to fight the spirit of symbiosis. I wish I could make them ignore nature rituals, but that would definitely, if I could set settings, ignore nature rituals is definitely a setting that I would set. Because very rarely does it help to have them specifically targeting nature rituals. I certainly don't find it particularly useful. And Healing Breeze is just often too strong for these enemies. Yeah, there's a Lari Double Blade getting absolutely ruined by some Wind Riders. Not that we can help. Lari Double Blade is just going to die there to Wind Rider attacks. Yep. Well, that's fine. We don't need to interact with her right now anyway. Just need to take care of these Lost White Mantle is what we need to do. Ooh, a vial of green dye. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Back to Coral Falls. Unlocks rend enchantments. Neat. And gets me Contemplation of Purity. For each one lost, you gain health, and then lose one hex. Yeah. It's definitely a useful skill. A little tricky to use sometimes, though. A little bit. Grab the cloth out of that. My cloth empire. Something. Where is chitin in there? I'm not sure how useful chitin is, honestly. Apparently it has missing green dye, so I'm glad to get that added to the slowly growing collection of dyes. Clement. Thank you. Wonder how much money I could make by offloading this thing of iron, but I kind of want to hang on to it for now for armor purposes. Right. Demagogue's Vanguard. I'm gonna go to Ventari. Probably need to do some eavesdropping and other nonsense for some good skills too. Thankfully, our elementalists are actually very good here against these lower level enemies. Okay, well that was... I can never remember which one's which. Between guilt and shame. They do opposite things, right? Guilt's... One of them interrupts and steals health when you cast a spell on an enemy, and the other interrupts and steals or steals, not health, energy, steals energy. When you cast a spell that targets an ally. But it is hard for me to remember which one does which specific effect. I guess my Orison is actually somewhat decent at this set of attributes, but your costs have a thing. Nope. Don't be attacking through that. Yeah, now I have both on me, so joke's on you. I'm just gonna use this signet. It's our Chaos Storm. My own, my precious. And my precious Energy Surge. Happy to have Energy Surge going on over there. Do need to get Livia and or Elias and or Master of Whispers. But that's kind of more of a consideration for larger quantity areas and whatever. Going back to being the low armored tank. Yep. What's going on, Sasuke? Dual tuned? Yeah, he is. You know it. Gotta love dual tuning. Got to love it. It lets your elementalists continue to do things. Man, those guys are getting wrecked by flame traps. That pause there was me remembering the flame trap. Just that word specifically. Or set of words. Technically, flame trap is 2 words. Flame and trap. Yep. That's the sound of me stretching. Okay. Now then. At this point, I just need to go see Counselor Valor. My reward. Like, it feels like this whole thing just leads you... Like, you can follow this right past the Wilds and Bloodstone Fen and just straight to Aurora Glade, which is kind of wild. Really? Okay, well, if Koss doesn't feel like fighting the Centaurs, I mean... I am surprised, but I don't mind. A sudden bout of pacifism. Oh no, wait, he found his aggression again. I guess I don't care as much if the Centaurs just happen to be attacking something else, you know? Come on, sales value, or... Okay, that's neither of those. That's, in fact, an item unlock, which is kind of cool. Sword Pommel of Swordsmanship. That does sound rather redundant. But 12%, excuse me, 12% is very low for that effect, with 20% being the max value. So it's not a particularly exciting weapon mod. Unlocking weapon mods is not part of my overall objective, by the by. I just want to unlock all skills. I'm going for UAS, not UAX. UAX would be unlock all the things. And I do not care, quite frankly, to do that. But I do want to unlock all skills because I think that's a neat objective. Once I do that, I'll probably switch to streaming when I do stream. The Shadow of War. Death Nova and Rebirth. Yes, please. Rebirth is a terrible mid-fight resurrect, but sometimes it absolutely saves you from party wipes. Interesting Chaos Wand. I wonder if that's better than what Gwen's currently got going on. No, it can't be, right? Yeah, well, inspiration. Yeah, no, this is not great either. Huh, okay. Gwen needs better gear. This is not better gear for Gwen, though. In fact, rather disappointing gear. Goodbye, sword that gave me a really bad mod unlock. Those mod unlocks allow you to, I think, make weapons for PvP. I don't know. It's been ages since I've had a PvP-only character, so I don't remember how that works. And they've also changed it somewhat, I think, since whenever eons ago that I last did that sort of thing. Okay, let's clear out these forces and then go drop some eaves. Be an eavesdropper. Rebirth, again, nice to have access to. Honestly, getting Rest Chant was probably the bigger innovation, as you can see. Down the whole line of all of these characters that I have using it. I don't know what Koss is doing. Well, I failed to save that Necromancer. It's okay. This is but a digital game object. It would have served as an excellent distraction and or potentially taking down that enemy, so. Okay, Veiler. Tell me how I did. And then I'm gonna go hunt down intel. How's this chakram? Pretty bad. Not like the absolute worst, but let's just say it's not a long-term use item. And leave it at that. Okay, time to go do some eavesdropping. Or specifically dropping eaves, as they say. It is wild to me that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is older than Guild Wars 1. And they probably started working on it. Because it had like a 5-year dev cycle, wasn't it? Didn't they start working on it in like around 2000? Or Guild Wars 1? I don't know, I'd have to double check. But like... That's absolutely my face getting beat in. My face is the face that's hardest for me to heal, so I prefer it not getting beat in. But yeah, it's wild to think about how old that trilogy of movies is. I mean, I remember it coming out. I remember being really excited to go see The Two Towers in theaters. And just watching that opening on the big screen of them going over the mountain. And hearing the Moria dialogue again. And man, that was a long time ago. But still, it still kind of boggles my brain that it's like, oh yeah, the Star Wars, because the Star Wars prequel trilogy is so separated in my mind from the Lord of the Rings trilogy that thinking about them like actually coming out in somewhat overlapping time frames kind of hurts my brain a little bit. And it also makes me wonder what's happened to cinema, that I don't think about anything quite like those experiences coming out now. I don't know. Maybe there are, and I'm just not. I don't pay enough attention to what movies are coming out, so I missed it. But I did see Superman recently. I enjoyed that. I think the DC universe is in much better hands. Like, James Gunn's hands are a much better set of hands for the DC universe to be in than Zack Snyder's. Zack Snyder is a really interesting filmmaker from the like handful of films that I've seen of his outside of the like DC universe. I've seen Sucker Punch, basically. I mean, he feels more like a very artsy, like art house sort of director that I'd like pick if I was making a music video or some really strange, interesting piece. But I don't think he's the right. I don't think he has the sensibilities for something that's supposed to be a big mainstream superhero movie. It's my sense of him. I still remember Mark Rosewater being very upset with one of those movies and having to issue a retraction later after something he tweeted. Nothing like super angry or anything either, just like... Anyway. That too was a long time ago. Many things were a long time ago. It still is really weird to me, because like, with Magic the Gathering, like I started playing in 2007, which means I've been playing it for a very long time now. But at the time, is like, as the new person, and, you know, OG Ravnica block had come out not that long ago, but people had been playing since the 90s, so, you know, when you start playing a game that's been out for like 10 years, you don't necessarily feel like an old school player, but I technically am at this point, and it still boggles my brain a little bit. Okay, hang on. Where's the... I don't think I normally go up this way. Yeah, because I need to listen to those White Mantle Zealots. Let's take care of this Redwood Shepherd. Are you going to start your dialogue? There they are. Gotta wait for them to finish talking. You hear something, it's nothing, you jump in shadows, places both on edge. Better safe than sorry, our friend inside the Shining Blade does not inspire much confidence in me. Have you ever thought that perhaps he might be playing us false? Must be a wait before we are discovered. Okay. Okay, Deeproot, give me Death Nova and Rebirth. Hello, Rebirth. I might have had Death Nova already. Oh yeah, Prot Spirit. Yeah, I absolutely need this. Okay. Blood and Smoke. It's a good name for a rock album, or a metal album, right? I'm just going to be merching all that stuff. Call merchant fodder. Glad I have a charge warrior for this at least. I guess having charge on Jorah would also be kind of nice. Or I could do charge on Melania actually, pretty reasonably. But I do like Pious Renewal a lot on Derv. She could roll charge, though. There's plenty of other options. And there's some good tactics skills for Derv. Thrill of Victory being a notable one. Right there. Of course, that works less well in the symbiosis-laden land, but... Okay. Protector needs to go down. It's Bonder. You can see the life bond it triggers, so there's no reason not to prioritize the Bonder. Man, bonding is not a strategy that I have employed in absolute ages. The problem is bonding is a really potent strategy, but it slows you down because you have to constantly be using the signet to restore your energy, and like you have to make sure all of your bonds are up, and probably the other big challenge with bonding is that it is obviously terrible if there's any enchantment removal. And there's so much, like, particularly later game areas that do have plenty of enchantment removal that as a strategy, bonding is kind of dubious. I think it was used a lot in Sorrow's Furnace with the gear trick, which was an aggro control strategy. Where when you were holding an item, enemies would laser focus on you, so it's an actual way to actually control aggro in the game. Like, there's definitely ways of manipulating enemy aggression, but it's not like a foregone conclusion in this game. Like, there's no taunt mechanic, but enemies at one point would auto aggro and like really just try to take you down. They absolutely gun for you if you are holding an item, such as the gears that you need in Sorrow's Furnace. And so the gear trick was just an aggro control technique. I didn't really do Sorrow's Furnace stuff, so this is something that I've only heard about. And there's at one point a Guild Wars themed like webcomic that was called the Gear Trick. And it's basically you would have somebody, probably a warrior, holding the gear, and every other enemy would aggro on them, so nobody else would be under any direct fire, and you'd bond them up. Life barrier, life bond. Don't know if you'd use mending or whatever, but you could focus a bunch of protective, maintain enchantments on them and stuff. And this guy can sometimes have multiple hearts if you have multiple players. It's kind of funny. Of course, the Bloody Heart looks a lot like a seed. Don't think too much about that. Way more efficient to grab this ahead of time. Oh my goodness! If you don't know that you need that, and you go talk to because it's possible to not grab that here and go all the way into the falls, because the quest just needs you to go to talk to the falls, talk to Dark Oak, and if you don't grab the Bloody Heart on the way from that guy, then you have to go all the way down to the Dark Oak or whatever his name is, and then come all the way back to get the heart, and then go all the way back again. It is absolutely atrocious. But yeah, so that was a really good use of bonding. But like, I don't think you could do a bonding build in DOA or anything like that. Man, and then they nerfed Spirit Bond, which also sucks. Spirit Bond used to not cap after with 10 hits. It used to be just infinite, like for however long it lasted. But it's really good at making you immortal. So they changed it. Which, like, I understand, but Man, MMOs and stuff, like having to balance stuff in specific considerations and not let the player become too broken or overpowered is really unfortunate. Like, I understand like all of the considerations that make that the case, but it is kind of disappointing. Okay. Koss, I am absolutely done with you aggroing on things that we've run past. Sometimes I just want to leave. They'll catch up. Especially if I'm getting pinned down by all these spiders. I don't think I care about 4 chitin fragments all that much, quite bluntly. Okay, zone transition to the falls. If I had Mox with me, actually, I could have done stuff with that, but who wants to bother? Zin's lair is kind of annoying. Okay, Koss. Let's try making you aggressive again and see if I regret it. Huh. Here, Vec, have this. Oh my goodness, I'm so sick of spiders. Yeah, charge getting rid of crippled. Let's see. Such a long trek, this quest. I mean, going to the falls in general is just such a long trek. Now that was a nice drop. 23 plant fibers? Heck yeah. I don't really have anything to say about this part. There's just a bunch of spiders that drop down and attack you over and over and over again. And it's kind of tedious. Okay. Dark Oak is just up there. Just have to fight a few centaurs first. And we can finish this quest. Here, Gwen, have a top off. Yes, here is this thing. A great cat, a lion. The lion hungers, devouring the forest, the entire forest, nay, the entire world. A host of gleaming angels, known not angels but birds, carrying birds, bright and terrible as the sun, accompany this lion. White mantle and the Mersat. That's how I've always kind of interpreted that. Okay. Let's go back here and turn this in. And then probably make my way to Aurora Glade. Over to Crito, the White Mantle, but what are the carrying birds? Yeah, that's the Mersat. But he doesn't know about the Mersat yet. Prot Spirit. Yay, new skill for this character. Prot Spirit is extremely good to have. Not great for the healing one, but did I already have Barb Signet? Maybe I did. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. Prot Spirit was the real skill that I wanted from that anyway. So. Eastern Tyrian skill quests. That's what today is about. Hember. Interesting name. Okay. Koss, you are demoted from aggro duty. Mon. Offering of Blood is been a e-management skill that monks have used for a very long time. I'm going to pause a moment to let everyone catch up. So I want to be under the influence of charge. Gotta make it across this plateau, I guess. Here, Vec, have some HP. Here, Sasuke, have some HP. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should let them take out this group. Yeah, it's a real fight now. Okay. Excellent. That's been cleared out. No? Yeah, this one still has, like, a few HP left. Thank you, Koss. These guys can drop plant fibers, and I'll take the tangled seeds, so I guess we can fight them. Okay, let's go. Yeah, plant fibers. 5 each from those is actually pretty good. tangle fiber quantities. Or plant fibers, rather, I should say. I got the tangled seed and plant fiber crossed in my brain. Yeah, Whirlwind's a little annoying. Let's see the differences in armor there. Kinda interesting. I guess HP values as well, but... Excuse me. Have a bit of yawn. A bit of a yawn. It's like, you gave us an urgent warning. Unfortunately, your warning is too late. I don't think there's any skill quests in Henjib and Ravi. Maguma State might have a set of some skills that are available more specifically there, but it's kind of not relevant. They'll be available in Emberlight Camp as well. That's the reason why. Maguma State is a neat little outpost, don't get me wrong, but... Thank you, Milani. Oh my goodness, the spiders, they're coming. Okay, I'm past the range of the spiders being a problem. Time to walk into town. Do. Oh, there's another level 6. Some Mesmer this time. I'm not actually sure what these LFG numbered NPCs are supposed to, or player characters are supposed to be about. They feel conspicuous. I don't really understand what the purpose is. Maybe if I was more clued in on the community, I would know, but... Okay. There's not really a good way there, is there? Let's just go from Delesio, I guess. Well, again, there doesn't feel like there's a great route to where I'm trying to get to. Dubious Blood Magic Staff. See what it is, it's 141 gold, that's what that is. This axe is actually not bad. I might consider using it on someone, maybe, possibly. Nah, let's be real. It's 142 gold, I'd rather sell that sucker. Spider webs salvage to silk. Pro tip. They don't salvage very well normally, but they will salvage to silk, so... if you, for some reason, need silk, like me, it's good little tip. These guys at higher levels can have incendiary bond, which is good to be aware of. Good to be aware of. I kind of want to get to Sanctum K today, maybe. Just like doing skill quests all along the way. That's kind of an ambitious goal, to be honest. Like that mountain in the distance. I mean, I'm not sure how long I realistically want to. But I have other things to do. So. I want to check. I don't think there's any skill quests in... And the increased movement speed helps disengage. So that's something that like charge, fallback, etc. are really useful for. There's a forced disengagement from enemies there. There's a lot of Tengu. People have definitely farmed these Tengu before. But I have not particularly. It's like I need to take everybody who's a primary profession up through this area to get skills for free. Kind of annoying. But I can't deny the fact that I want to get to Drockner's Forge, so... Going through the Crystal Desert areas and everything is kind of the best way of doing that. I mean, the alternative is to do a crawl to Drockner's Forge from Beacon's Perch, and that is just tedious. And is not getting me as much, like, useful map progression, so... I'd rather avoid doing that. That's a collector of some kind, yeah, Winter in the Black. You guys can't hear it probably, but there is somebody doing yard work. They say the suburbs are nice and quiet, but there's a lot of yard work that happens in the suburbs. And it is not quiet. What's going on with this short bow? Oh good, improved sale value. I'm gonna have a trip to the bank/merchant soon. That Sasuke link behind? Yeah. Because Sasuke's dual tune, he's going to spend a lot of time using both of those. I do want to check to see if I can get one of the quests from Captain Greywind. I know I can't get the quest from Farmer Dirk, which is a skill quest. Unfortunately, I can't get that. It's Prophecy's character only, but this is connected to going over the mountain, so it makes sense that it's Prophecy's only. I like this little water wheel over here, by the way. I think that's pretty neat. Not that I really paid much attention to it, but... I don't think Captain Greywind has any skills that I need to get. Either, but... Yeah, he does have a quest. He probably has Reversing the Scales and Blinkens for Settlers, which Blinkens for Settlers is the one that I'm most interested in. I'll grab this one, but I probably won't do it anytime soon. Blankets for Settlers, like I said, is the one that I really want. I might do it when I make my way elsewhere. Elsewhere being back to Ascalon, which I'm eventually going to want to do on this well, on all of my non-prophecies characters. So there's like what? Only a handful that way. I think most of the characters on this account are Canthan, right? Yeah, because I did half the professions, half of the core professions starting prophecies. I think the other half in factions as well as an assassin, and then the lone dervish paragon starting in Nightfall. Man, I continue to love this map. It just has such a tropical feel. That sky, it just feels like a tropical sunset here. I love that sense that you get from this map, or at least that I get from this map. I don't know what sense you get from this map. I shouldn't speak for you. I can only speak for myself. This is not the vibes I get from Kryda and Guild Wars 2, and that annoys me a little bit. Kryda feels too much like it's Ascalon in Guild Wars 2. I mean, not entirely, but definitely has vibes that lean that direction. And I dislike that. Okay, Caleb. What skills will I get here? Blood of the Master and Mend Ailment. I might have Mend Element already? I do. This one is not a high priority quest for me to finish then. But I still want to get to the hot springs down that way because it's useful. Especially because that's a good jumping off point for going to the Cursed Lands. That takes me to the Black Curtain where the Temple of Ages is, and I want to go there on my way to Fisherman's Haven. So just gonna make all these guys super passive. I take some damage here. I just want to run past enemies right now. I'm in part coming this way because I'm going to need to go through here later, so I figured uncovering the map is beneficial. Yeah, it's not exactly going ideally back there. Delicious water, though. Need to reshuffle my cups. I'm going to aim myself in and do that. I have multiple water cups. Or cups of water. And I keep by me. Okay. This would literally just get me Blood of the Master, so it's not great, but I might as well do it so that way I can turn it in next time I go to Nebu Terrace. Which will inevitably be at some point in time. And then Layman Joseph. Can't trust this guy. Cannot trust him at all. Okay, some plant fibers. Excellent. Glad to see more silk. I definitely need more silk in general. Okay. Let's go hit up the merchant. Luca. Yes, I would like to not hold these things, thanks. Wow, that's some nice cash. Okay, now it's time for our trek over to the other areas. I'm going to go ahead and turn everybody back to guard. This time, actually take the enemy seriously because I don't want death penalty stacking up on my guys. Let's get Fragility off now, shall we? Okay. I'm not doing that quest. Grasping ghouls are kind of an annoying enemy. Please don't burn that on us. Okay. I have done farms of this area on a 55 monk before. Probably end up with deep wound. Yep. Weakness is the bigger annoyance since that decreases physical damage. Honestly, this would be a great spot to have Avatar of Melandru. I don't, but it would be a great spot to have it. Although Avatar of Dwayne would probably arguably be better, or Avatar of Balthazar in order to deal holy damage. Okay, Milani just keeps getting crud stacked up on her. Okay, well, I'm getting crud stacked up on me too. Thankfully, these guys' air magic is low enough that it doesn't last very long, but the blind is specific. Got a couple of bone minions. Oh my goodness, I explode those things. I think Vec also, or not Vec, Sasuke is maybe a little bit better against these guys. I think they're slightly weak to fire. Don't know if you heard that thump or not, but I certainly did. Okay, time for the long, tedious trek through the cursed lands. This is a spot where something like Guardian would be kind of useful. Shielding hands. Shield of Absorption probably be a little bit better, actually. I'm not super familiar with this map because I mostly just use it to get from these two, between these two areas. A lot of rangers. Doing their best Gandara impression. No, that's an area where Shield of Absorption is good. You're not standing that. Yeah, these maps... The Fog of War version of these maps is a little confusing. Excuse me. Ooh, wonder if I got anything good there. It's possible. Not likely, but possible. Tormentors. That... Tormentors is absolutely worth taking out of this. The rest of it's just so valueless that no matter how good Tormentors is these days, it's worth more. I do think Tormentors is a fairly valuable insignia. But it's not the worst. As far as random purples go. Yeah, and then we dip down into here and fight more of these nibbling guys. Seriously, I think one of their moves might be called Nipple. I'm mostly just using crippling attack right now, though. Maybe it's other ones that have nipple. Nope, there's Nibble. Okay. The black cotton. I should double check something. I suspect the answer is no, but... Hang on. You know, I'm gonna check the thing later. It's related to the... So, one of the quests that we're gonna get into the Temple of Ages... I think it's Witness Rastin. But anyway, I'm gonna want to check what's the name specifically. Man, I need an elite skill that's better at healing. Yeah, I think it is Witness Rastin. Hang on. Nope, that is absolutely not the right NPC. Never mind. Never mind. We will check once we get to the Temple of Ages. Witness Rastin is the NPC outside Ascalon who accompanied Ambassador Zane. Okay, let's get barbs off of you. Okay, maybe I don't want barbs on me either, but whatever. Man, I like the vibes of Kryda and Guild Wars 1 better than the vibes of Kryda and Guild Wars 2. Like, Guild Wars 2, Kryda is doing the Ascalon thing of generic European fantasy, and Kryda and Guild Wars 1 is much more like, here's a kind of tropical area, actually. And so its vibes are different because Ascalon was already holding the vibes that it's going for, but the vibes in Ascalon and Guild Wars 2 are based on Guild Wars 1 Ascalonian vibes of, like, post-searing. Because, like, I like the subversion that happens in Guild Wars 1, right? Where you have... Okay, let's get barbs off of me if I'm going to be getting wailed on by a couple of dogs. But where you start off with kind of, like, your stereotypical European medieval vibes, right? Actually having to do some serious healing business here. But then it transitions, or like that basically crumbles, right? So it feels very stereotypical in terms of the setting that Pre-Searing Ascalon has. Now, Pre-Searing Ascalon has a lot of niceties and other things, and I'm definitely a big fan of it, but it is like a stereotypical sort of setup that then gets subverted, is the word I'm looking for, when it gets blown up. And so, like, Kryda is going for different vibes because nowhere is doing those vibes again, right? It's that I'm using vibes very liberally here, but basically I mean like the setting and design and stuff like that. But what that ends up meaning is yeah, we need to go up that way. is that Guild Wars 2 is like, oh, let's repurpose that sort of European-y vibes, for lack of a better word, traditional fantasy setting vibes for Kryta, and that means that Kryta no longer has the identity that it had. But Ascalon gets to have kind of its own identity as like the ruined place that is recovering, right? Like Prostyrian Ascalon is an apocalyptic wasteland, and Ascalon in Guild Wars 2 time is post-apocalypse, right? It is recovering from an apocalypse, which I also don't like apocalypse used in that way. Apocalypse comes from the Greek term that means revelation. That's where the Apocrypha, right, that we see in why am I blanking on the exact name? I want to say Janthir, but it's not Janthir. It's Faranir, the first city. The Apocrypha of Abaddon that we see in there, that's the revelation of Abaddon, right? And that's where that name is coming from. But because of the Apocalypse of St. John, the Revelation of St. John, Revelation, Apocalypse, same word, just one's the English one and one's the Greek. Like Mizar, that's the... Okay, Abbot Ramoth. I want to look up Abbot Ramoth. Okay, that's what I thought. Abbot Ramoth does not have an elite skill, but I want to double check. These are not particularly useful skills, but I will acquire them. Okay, we're gonna put on Mox and Talcora, I think. Yeah, this is perfectly acceptable. Except for the part where Mox is using Resurrect instead of Resurrection Chant. We probably don't really need Prot Spirit here, actually, either. Let's throw on Shielding Hands instead of Prot Spirit. Prot Spirit is good if there's a lot of damage, but I don't see that as being what's going to be happening here. Do I need to clear my inventory? No, not really. I just wanted to double check to see if that Abbot had an elite skill, because if so, I would have captured it, but to my non-surprise, the Abbot did not. Okay, we've got a long trek ahead of us now. We'll be back to Temple of Ages later, but... Okay. So yeah, I basically missed the more tropical feeling Kryta, and I mean, part of it is it does take place up here, which arguably should be a little bit different. And like Wilds of Janthir is taking place up here. This is Janthir itself. We now know that this is the island of Janthir. So like I think, right? Because this is the lowland shore, and then Janthir Sentry is like here, and Mount Balrior is over here. I think, is that right? I don't know. I'd have to compare the maps, and I'm not doing that right now. But that's roughly where things align, as I understand it. Excuse me. Yeah, you can see Shielding Hands doing its work. And Healing Seed. Okay. Litanies of the Unseen. This way. I felt like I was going in the wrong direction. That's because I was. I probably should have retooled Mox to be a warrior and have charge, but I didn't. Okay, we've got get through here. The Fisherman's Haven. There'll be a couple of quests to take in Fisherman's Haven, and then we'll make our way to Sanctum K. And then I'll probably wrap up there, because it's getting late enough that I want to. probably do some Guild Wars 2 dailies and stuff after that, but it's not like I don't think those are exactly high viewership when I've tried those in the past, so we're not going to bother streaming Guild Wars 2. I do eventually actually want to stream a playthrough of Guild Wars 2, of Guild Wars 2, where I play through the game without the mini-map. But that is a ways off. Wonder how we're going to unlock the elite specializations in the next X-Pack, actually. If they're going to use skill points or if it's going to be... that's actually an interesting question that I hadn't thought about until just now. Because historically we've used skill points, but obviously there haven't been any skill point nodes in the last couple of expansions. Which I don't mind. I think the skill point thing is actually really awkward. Because you kind of need to put in more than the player needs unless you want them to literally have to get every single skill point, which arguably you don't want to have to make them do that. But then the problem is you have extra skill points that the player doesn't use, and then it feels kind of bad to get them in some regards. Or it's a reward that doesn't translate to anything actual, right? Because you're being rewarded with a currency that there's less to spend the currency on than currency is available. It's not like an endless thing or whatever. So I wonder if they might choose something other than skill points. I think I want to go around this way as the way of getting the new elite specs in the next expansion. That'll be interesting to find out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they just do skill points, and I certainly wouldn't be upset. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does a method other than skill points, because it wouldn't surprise me if ArenaNet feels about skill points the way I was just describing. That they are technically a way of giving the player a reward that kind of self-caps. Like, most players are just... If you're going at all completionist, you're going to end up with more skill points than you can spend. That is just simply the math. That was probably Sasuke. Yeah. Acolyte, stand around and apply 2 attunements. Takes like 3 seconds to do that. Thank you. So yeah, I kind of actually, now that I'm thinking about it, hope that they don't use skill points and have some other method of unlocking it. Or if they do use skill points, that it's all like upfronted. Like, not a challenge, but it's like doled out somehow in some sort of way that makes it feel better. But even then, like, I don't know. The implementation of skill points in Guild Wars 2 leaves something to be desired, in my opinion. But Guild Wars 2, in my opinion, is too close to Guild Wars 1, so, you know. Wait a second. I'm going the wrong way. It's either too close to Guild Wars 1 or not far enough from it. Or, yeah, it's either too close to Guild Wars 1 or not close enough. But, in my opinion, with the things that they're trying, I think it's too close to Guild Wars 1. It's even closer than I was remembering. Yeah. Because if you're going over to Majesty's Rest, you have to go cut through here. Get to Majesty's Rest and stuff. But here it's just straight down. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Okay. This is another sort of nice map. Although it has, like, evening vibes in a different sort of way than the other one. I don't know. It's interesting to think about the vibes I get from the skies, you know? This is a terrible spot for our elementalists. All of the chillblains going on. Yeah, because I want to go over here. Fisherman's Haven's down there. Not over there. This map leads down to Riverside Province, and I've spent it is one of the maps I've spent the least amount of time in. I couldn't say it's the least, but it is. Like Dreadnought's Drift is a map I like almost never go to as well. But it's probably even lower than that. I spend such little time there. That I probably do want to salvage. Yeah, I do. Scales are way more useful than chitin IMO. Ow. Could cut that down considerably by having max armor, but that would require me to have max armor. And I don't. Let's see how the FPS holds up here. I think that he's saying Stephen Clark Wilson, I think is his name. The dev who's the main one in charge of Guild Wars 1 at this point. Was saying that there had been some sort of something that he had done to improve frame rates issues in some of these areas, I think. Something like that. Oh, it's tanking a little bit. You probably can't feel it. I'm in the, like, 40s. I don't know if you can see the little number there. 30s. I stream at 30 FPS, so... you're probably not feeling the frame rate chunk the way I am. But I can show you how I'm feeling it. Good old half-eaten blob. Doing okay at the moment, though, actually. I don't know. There's our Wizard's Tower. Asgarin hanging out up there. Being attacked by Verada and Galrath. Only one of whom gets accepted. Good old Galrath. Let's get that off of costs. Okay, Fisherman's Haven, I want to get inside of you. For very questy related reasons. Lost Princess. Royal Papers. What does this give me? Scourge Healing. Yeah, I'm going to say none of those are like the most exciting skill, but I don't mind getting them. Do. Nice. Okay. I think I might make my way to Sanctum K first. And then... Hey, Mazing. Anything stand out to me about your offerings? No. Definitely stuff I'm going to need to investigate at some point in time. But, like, I'm going to get more skills in the Crystal Desert, so... I want a salvage kit. How's my ID kit doing? Pretty low. Let's grab another ID kit while I'm here. Hang out down here, I guess. Actually, I can put these iron ingots over there. And let's hang out there. Okay, cool. Oh, that hits the frame rates, drops. Oh, chunk. Okay. Yeah, let's go fight some Tengu. That is what we're gonna do. Because that's what's the business. Royal papers, specifically. Yeah, that's the quest I have on, actually. So we're good. Okay, there's a decent chance that I have somewhat over-aggroed here. We will find out if that's the case momentarily. Part of the problem is Chillblains is obnoxious. Okay, looks like I was worried over nothing. Chillblains is, in fact, merely obnoxious and not an actual threat to anything but our elementalist energy pools. So... So I'm really glad I have a strong healing skill on Milani. There we go. Top off some health bars. I think it's better if I kind of go up around this way. The Tengu are definitely going to be annoying. Get this Spinello out of here. Staff wrapping of shelter, interesting. Tengu don't pelt us in hexes, which is nice. Okay. Don't need to run back over to that for a seed or anything. Don't know why cost was not charging, but fixed that. Need to pop open this chest. That's where the goods are. Gotta take out some of these elite. Chromie Tengu elites does not mean they're an elite enemy, unlike Guild Wars 1, where they would, or Guild Wars 2, where they'd be a lot more dangerous by being an elite. Ho ho ho. I mean, they're a little bit more dangerous here too, for what it's worth. I think they're maybe a little higher. I don't know, actually. That guy, yeah, that guy's level 12. The elites were level 18, so they were definitely a lot more dangerous. A bit more dangerous. I don't know, we're level 20, so it's a little hard to evaluate that sort of thing, you know? Thank you. think I want to go down this way past all of these Inferno Imps. These are the level 13 ones that have incendiary bonds, so these guys are actually kind of a threat. Oh. Thankfully, burning does not overcome the power of Orison of Healing. Frankly. I mean, Healing Breeze is also putting in good work, but... Kill the tree! Ooh, abnormal seeds. Don't mind if I do. Let's not fight those Inferno Imps. Soul Pyrus there does sell, like, some pretty decent armor for this stage of the game. It'd technically actually be better than the stuff that I've got on, except for my helmet, so... Not gonna get any, but it would be. Oh, it does have the dragon chest design and everything. And the sacred stuff, and this monk stuff woven. And so a decent variety of armors. As well. Definitely, once you get to Sanctum K, you can pop out here and make armor from Soul Pyrus and get some good quality duds rather before doing the thing instead of after. Because I think that's the same quality as you get in Amnoon. I want to call it Amnoon Lagoon, but it's not. That's Mamnoon. Mamnoon, Amnoon. I don't know why they made the names so similar. Ooh, a Monstrous Fang. Now that's a good drop. I certainly appreciate that. Jamora the Wise. What makes you wise? You look Ascalonian. Interesting. You give Crichton pants for glowing hearts. Right. These pants are 39, so you can see 51 AL versus 39 is a pretty substantial difference. Okay, now that we have Sanctum K, it's time to go to Temple of the Ages and do some quests here. Hello, Salma. Yes, you have agreed. And also, Brother Mizar is ready to have a quest turned in. Demonic Flesh is a skill that is a bit dubious in terms of its usefulness. I think it's probably at its best on, like, assassins, or it's on its best on a melee attacker. But in terms of what build is good for, Blessed Signet, by the way, is a skill that you use to maintain your energy when you're maintaining bonds or doing like bonding or whatever. I've done bonding before, but it's been absolute ages because it's generally not considered a good build anymore, as far as I know. Like, it's certainly not something you do in a general PvE scenario. Honestly, part of what kills it is ritual spirits. Like the Soul Twist build is just so good at mitigating damage that bonds are just terrible at it in comparison. And then Balsos. Or Price of Failure. Interesting that I unlocked this here. Animate bone minions. And Scourge Healing, which makes me think I have bone minions already. But I unlocked Price of Failure, which is kind of neat. Okay. I did have another skill quest to turn in, the Hot Springs Murders. But since I already have Mend Ailment, I'm not in a rush to go back to Nebu Terrace to turn that in. So I'll probably wait until something else gives me cause to go there. And I think with that, I've probably wrapped up. Because I did the Beetleton skill quest. I remember that. Yeah, I think that covers the skill quests in this area. So that's more or less what I want to do. I'm going to pop to my guild hall and take care of my inventory. Which is really actually these like armors and runes and stuff. Man, I'm enjoying the actions music that I'm hearing. Okay. I will sell that. 700. Nice, nice. Okay. Radiant Minor Illusion is probably not worth anything. Okay, that's what I thought. Radiant. I'm going to salvage this one out regardless. Because I'm going to probably want the Radiant Insignia. I'm going to just hang on to that. I don't know if Stalwart's worth anything. Okay, it's not. But that's also not worth very much. I'm just going to sell that, I think. Excellent. And up to 10 plat in the bank, which will evaporate extremely quickly to purchase skills. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and call this stream here. That was a bunch of skill questing, and next time I will probably remember to play this character and probably remember to do Sanctum K and get myself to the Crystal Desert, where we can do some more skill quests, and amongst other things, like, I don't know, getting to Draknar's Forge eventually. And getting Word of Healing, which will be great. So, hey Ra, thanks for joining. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, everyone, take care, and goodbye. Oh no, my party window's covering the waving hand.